Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cellular Healing TV. I'm your host, Meredith Dykstra, and this is episode number 190. 190. That's hard to believe. Almost approaching 200, Dr. Pompa. And we have our resident cellular healing specialist, Dr. Pompa, on the line, of course, and sitting beside a very special guy. And our guest expert on today's show is Dr. Hank Williams, who I know is a very dear friend of yours, a friend of mine, and a very gifted healer. Dr. Hank, we're so excited to have you on the show today. He's a functional medicine expert and a true cellular detox specialist located in Laguna Beach, California, has been practicing chiropractic for over 17 years. And I know he's such a gifted healer. I've been given adjustments by Dr. Hank, and he's amazing. And what you do and all of the different practices that you bring into your clinic, you just have such a gift for helping so many people. So, and you have quite a story of your own, Dr. Hank, as we're going to share today, which I know has inspired me and Dr. Pompa and so many who know you as to what you've been through and what you've done with all of these challenges. So we're so excited to delve into your story, Dr. Hank. So welcome to Cellular Healing TV.
Thank you, Meredith.
Yeah, I'm honored to sit next to this guy. He takes care of my family. You know, it's my family loves when we go to Laguna Beach. Boy, they're in the office almost every day, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah, Hank does some unique things in his office, by the way. And of course, he does the cellular healing, cellular detox work, but some really cool work. He is absolutely an amazing healer. There is no doubt about that. I have a lot of respect for this guy right here. You know, I think, you know, I always say my story from pain to purpose. I feel like when I tell people your story or you tell your story, I don't even have a story, folks. I mean, I'm telling you, from pain to purpose, this pain has made him an expert in a lot of things, including the kidneys, which I want to talk about today a little bit because he is an expert in the kidneys, again, because of the pain he went through. And the kidneys play into a lot of reasons why people don't feel well, people are sick, people have symptoms, you know, and they're looking at their blood work, once again, waiting for these magical numbers, but it's not until, you know, you're in severe trouble that those numbers on blood work typically would change. But yet the kidneys play a significant role in electrolyte depletion, adrenals, I mean, you name it, detox, of course. I mean, sex hormones, I mean, you know, you name it. You know, iron levels, therefore fatigue. I mean, so many things. So we're going to talk about that today because many of you watching this show, you know, you're going to say, holy cow, that could be me. No doubt about it. Well, Hank, let's tell your story because I don't know anyone more tough. I don't know anyone who's been through what you've been through. And, you know, I've watched you. I almost killed him, actually, Meredith. Did you know that? I almost killed him, literally. Yeah. You know, he's been on dialysis for 4 years. I take him mountain biking and, you know, he hemorrhages a kidney. We didn't know. He ends up in the hospital. Okay, I didn't choose to go mountain. I didn't make you go mountain biking.
No, I wanted to go.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's get that straight right now. But, you know, the poor guy, I almost killed him. Anyways, tell your story, Hank.
Okay. So, the end of high school, was figuring out if I wanted to go to college. I had some scholarships to go run at some different colleges for cross country and just didn't really know where I wanted to go. And one of my uncles was a Navy SEAL, and Navy just sounded like it'd be fun to explore the world. It wasn't the Army or the Marines or guns, you know.
Doesn't sound fun to me.
No. So I decided to join the Navy, and originally was a quartermaster, which is a navigator, so driving the ships and different things like that. Well, our boat needed a search and rescue swimmer, so I was a good swimmer, so I decided I would try out for it. Well, they sent a couple people before me, and then they didn't pass the course. So I called my uncle, and I ended up going to search and rescue school with the hopes of doing good in that and being able to go on to dive school. So I did. I graduated from the search and rescue school and went to dive school, and then was hoping to get on a SEAL team, but as it happened, didn't happen. 159 people in my class, 19 of us graduated, and they took like 5 or 6 people to SEALs. So just ended up going back and doing search and rescue for the ship. Went into the Gulf War. And up to this point, I pretty much, as far as vaccines, had only had a couple as a childhood because my mom, I had a polio shot and I had a bad reaction to it. And my mom's like, we're not doing this. And we lived out in the middle of nowhere, so it wasn't like we had an immunization schedule or anything like that. So I get in the military and we go to the Gulf. Well, first thing they do is line you up and walk down. And it's like in one day, 2 shots or both arms, like 4 different stations in a day of just bam, 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 vaccines, and take the malaria pills for 3 weeks and then another set of malaria pills and then go to the Gulf. I started getting sick right away, not feeling good from that, headaches, things like that. Well, we get to the Gulf and then we're out, you're doing drills, you're in the water, you're in the oil, the smoke, the fires. We didn't see the sun for months. You're just breathing.
They were burning that oil.
Oh yeah, the oil wells were all on fire. So you're breathing all the smoke, and I'm in the water and oil. You take your wetsuit off, you just cover your skin. Here's some Dawn, go take a shower, get the oil off. And during that time too, I had teeth. I got amalgams in my mouth. Didn't realize the problem, so it just got toxic overload.
Yeah, the bucket filled very quickly.
Yeah, probably not the best food on the ship, but I was on a supply ship, which was better than other ships. At least we had fresh food. I worked out, stayed in shape. I had to. So when I got out, and I started college my freshman year after getting out of the military, I started getting kidney stones. And at first, they thought maybe I was doing too much calcium, working out, taking calcium, or too much protein. I had calcium oxalate stones. And if you've ever had kidney stones, it's not fun. I have heard 4 or 5 times. So first thing I did was I stopped drinking milk. Well, I realized right then my allergies started getting better. And as a kid, I got allergy shots all the time. Well, we grew up on a farm, wheat, dairy, right? So I stopped eating wheat, stopped eating dairy, and most of my allergies started going away. But I still was having, first thing I really noticed besides the kidney stones was frothy urine, which is protein stuff.
Yeah, protein
in the urine. And then my blood pressure started going high. So I go to the doctor and they start running tests and they're like, well, your kidney function's down and your creatine's going up. Looks like you have some kind of kidney disease. So I had a biopsy and it came back IgA nephropathy. And there's a lot of different kidney diseases. You have different nephropathies. IgA is where IgA cells attack your kidney. So I started researching. I was in my pre-med classes to go to medical school in college in Idaho. And so I started looking this up and found out that smoke inhalation is the major cause, and you get respiratory infections.
Wow.
And that respiratory infection then goes to the kidney, causing an autoimmune attack where your body starts attacking the kidney. Well, at this point, I really didn't know anything, but was friends with Dr. Lou Wheelwright. I got in a car accident and started going to Lou. Well, he was muscle testing. He started putting me on some systemic kidney formulas.
The K-kidney?
The K-kidney. And
we use it all the time.
My back pain. I had the horrible back pain all the time. Within a couple of days of taking the K-kidney, even though I'd been in an auto accident, my back pain started going away.
You hear that? Back pain. I didn't mention that one with the kidneys, and that's the obvious.
Yeah, low back pain. You think up higher, but in reality, you feel it in your low back.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say, where did you feel it?
Yeah.
So
was going to get ready to start medical school, and Lou's nephew was going to chiropractic school in 3 weeks. I sent him my paperwork to Parker, and they took me in and started chiropractic school, which put me on this journey. I started working for Systemic, learning nutrition. I actually met
That's where I met
back then, 20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's hard to believe. Yeah, exactly.
So, but at the time, I think it was around 94, 95. After the biopsy, they said, you got about 3 to 5 years, you're going to have kidney failure, you have an autoimmune. At that time, they wouldn't give you transplants if you were autoimmune because they said it just reinfected the kidney. So my whole goal was, well, how do you turn off an autoimmune disease? Well, they gave me their 5 years. My kidney didn't fail till 2008. So then I went on dialysis for a year. I got a kidney in 2010. And that lasted 3 years. And I actually, originally they thought it rejected because they said I wasn't taking my meds, which wasn't true because my labs showed that my
the rejection drugs.
Which I took them every day like clockwork. You don't mess around with that.
No.
You take them. And but what I found out is I had a congenital fold in my gallbladder called a physerum cap. Well, 4 years ago, I came to the University of Utah because it was going to be faster to get a kidney than waiting in California, which was like 10 to 12 years. Here was like 3 to 4, which it turned out to be just almost 4 years. And I just got a kidney last month.
Yeah. Okay. So you didn't know that aspect.
Yes.
The reason he's here at my house for the last month, a month ago, he just had another kidney put in.
Yes.
So kidney transplant 1 month ago, and he's been staying here ever since.
Yes.
So we've been blessed to have him here recovering.
So when I went to the U, they said they did a scan of my gallbladder, and I was like, well, why are you checking? You know, usually they check everything, but the PET scan came back. I had this fold in my gallbladder, and I had a stone in there like this. Well, the problem with the fold is it's from birth, and it reattaches to itself. So everything that goes in can't get out. Doesn't matter if you do a gallbladder flush or not. It's one way.
Sounds painful.
Well, when they took it out, the doctor told my mom that he's like, I am shocked that he wasn't in the emergency room before this. He goes, it was gangrenous. It was leaching into his omentum. He goes, I can't believe he's up and walking around and not in an emergency room. Well, obviously the things I was doing was offsetting it.
Yeah.
But that's probably the reason the kidney failed, is what they said. It was 95% of transplants fail if you have this congenital fold in your gallbladder. So they removed everything but the bile ducts. Well, they removed the upper half of the bile duct, and they left the portal and all that stuff in. So I still have that. So I don't really have a problem with eating fat and those things that people that have a complete removal
Of the gallbladder.
So that's kind of my story
Yeah.
in a nutshell. And what we're going to talk about today is things that you can do while somebody has failing kidney, the labs that you want to look at, and then what they can do while they're on dialysis, and what type of dialysis I would recommend after researching the different types. But first, we want to talk about the kidney and its importance in detoxifying the body and different symptoms you can get.
Yeah, well, you mentioned K-kidney, which has been a staple, our pre-detox, right? Our prep phase, K-kidneys in, always there, and KS. And, you know, these, when Wheelwright developed K-kidney, you know, it was, and it still is, the best kidney formula out there. I mean, you know, his liver formula, I would say the same. I mean, he was known for these two formulas. I mean, they're absolutely remarkable. There's nothing like them. You know, and you had said you were taking the K-kidney, it took your back pain away.
Right.
I can't tell you how many people I give K-kidney to, and they go, you know, my back feels better. It's like, it was the kidneys, you know? So, you know, and I said I just got a text from my brother-in-law saying, you know, he lost all this weight. He's doing intermittent fasting. You know, he does everything that we tell him to do, and that he watches on the show, frankly. And, but yet his high blood pressure is still high. And I know it's the kidneys. So talk a little bit about the kidneys' effect on blood pressure and how it could relate to fatigue. So let's kind of link the kidneys to some of these conditions.
So most people, we think blood pressure, first thing they're going to look at is cardiovascular and heart, right? Arteriosclerosis, heart function, you know, vagus nerve function, all those things can affect the heart and cause blood pressure. But the kidney also, because the kidney is the filtration unit. So that blood goes through the tubules and the glomerulonephrine and the tubes of Henle. And that back up, if the kidney's not functioning, like in an IgA nephropathy, you get deposits of immunoglobulin alpha in the kidney, which backs it up, which backs your blood pressure up. And good things to clean that out is like the K-kidney, corn silk, asparagus root from Chi Enterprises. It's way stronger than just asparagus. Eating asparagus is great, but what it does, it also helps drop the creatine and the bun ratios. Two labs you need to look at for kidney, along with EGFR. Now, there's a difference in GFR.
And those are typically on, standard blood work.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
Usually, you know, GFR 100, 110, 90, 110 is good level.
Yeah, I was just going to say, do you have a different level? Maybe you can share some of that if you can remember.
Yeah, so there's typically different kidney, they classify kidney dysfunction or failure by where your GFR and creatine levels are. So, you know, usually if you're over 80 to 90, you're pretty good. Once you drop below 80, then you're heading into like stage 3. Once you go below 50, then you're like in stage 2. Once you go below 20, you're in stage 1 renal failure. And then it also depends on creatine. Creatine should be between 0.7 and 1.3. Once it starts going over 1.3 up into the 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, that's indicative of more kidney failure. And like I said, the asparagus root really helps keep that creatine level down for all types of kidney diseases. Now back to blood pressure, because those things aren't allowing the flow of the blood through, your blood pressure backs up in your system, you get swelling, you can get anemia in the legs, you'll notice that right away, like swelling in the ankles and the legs. We also, like I said, you gotta look at bun, you gotta look at creatine and those ratios. Like I said,
I don't know if this helps you look at some of those, but anyway, there's some blood work.
Floppy urine, you know, urea nitrogen output, also glucose, you know, diabetics, their kidney. Diabetics the number one reason of kidney failure.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and then they get neuropathies also because it's going to affect the nerve, which I got neuropathies in my feet. That was more from Cipro, but it was also due to the kidney failure, you know, the combination of the two.
So when someone looks at, you know, by the time their blood work gets off, like your blood work, you had issues, right? It's way past. So you have to, you know, you have to be careful there. So, so what are some of the signs that someone may look at and say, hey, maybe it is my kidneys? We talked about back pain and
frothy urine,
high blood pressure, frothy urine, and then what about
anemias?
Yeah, talk about that because that leads to fatigue.
Yeah, so kidneys responsible for epogen, which is erythropoietin. Erythropoietin is what goes to the bone marrow and stimulates red blood cell production. So first thing you notice is they start getting anemia, so you need to look at your hemoglobin levels. And anemia isn't always iron. It could be B12, it can be iron. But if you notice if they have a kidney function and the anemia, it's actually coming from the kidney. You can actually run an EPO test and see how much epogen or erythropoietin.
Erythropoietin, yeah.
And if it's low, then you know it's the kidney that's actually causing the anemia, not necessarily the spleen for iron.
Yeah, and an EPO can be run. Any doctor can do it.
So that's another test that they don't run, but you can get ran to see where their erythropoietin.
And what about electrolytes too? Because I've had a lot of people that I was able to say, you know, I think this is the kidneys. They just can't. Right, they're always dehydrated. And it ends up being their kidneys that are why they can't balance their electrolytes. Because
the kidney is responsible for balancing electrolytes. And the other thing with kidney is most people that go into kidney failure, they put them on a lisinopril type of drug because there's a conversion of angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2 in the lungs. And this drug actually works in the lungs. And what happens is they overproduce the angiotensin 1, which raises their blood pressure. So the lisinopril type drugs stops that enzyme conversion from 1 to 2, which helps drop their blood pressure. The problem is long-term use, you get a cough from it. So you have to support the lungs when you're on it. So I took the R-Lung. I still ended up having to get changed, but I was able to take it for about 10 years.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Because when you have kidney failure, you know, you're not always going to have to do alternative. There's alternatives that are going to help, but sometimes you have to take the med too.
Yeah, yeah. So you know, when we look at the kidneys, I recently have a client who exposed to a lot of mercury.
Yes.
Mercury and other toxins tend to attach to the nephrons.
Yes.
Because the body's trying to get rid of these
Number
heavy
one
metals.
places,
right.
Kidney and nerve cells.
Right. And then, of course, the nerve cells, it goes, and then the kidneys. So again, people that have heavy metal or toxic issues, period, it seems like they end up with other symptoms that are related to the kidneys being stressed by the toxins. And you were exposed to so many different stressors. And then, like you said, once those toxins start attaching, interfering, driving inflammation of those, you know, different areas of the kidney, then the body can go into autoimmune. Even infection can run that as well.
So, you know, the big thing I did is I did Dr. Dan's mercury removal protocol. I had 8 silver fillings in my mouth. Got them all removed. On dialysis this last time. I had my first transplant before I had that stuff removed. But after the kidney failed, first thing I did was go and get the mercury removed. And started detoxing.
Because I remember the conversation. I'm like, Hank, you know, you can't put another kidney in there. Like pouring that mercury down through there. It's you know, suicide. And then you just got them out, man. You did it.
I did it right away. First thing I did is get all that removed the right way.
Right.
You know, we have a specific protocol we follow for removing the mercury.
Yeah.
And it made a difference in my dialysis numbers.
Yeah.
Getting the mercury out.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know.
Yeah.
So
then you were detoxing through dialysis.
Yes.
I mean, I don't even know how many people would have the guts to do that. I spoke a little bit about that nephrotic syndrome client. His doctor actually said, you know, I would actually do the mercury detox because I think it'll take stress off your kidneys. And sure enough, it does.
Yes.
You know, when he's on a cycle of detox, he actually gets better. His numbers actually get better. So what did you notice when you were going through detox?
Well, you know, so let me talk about what I did first until I got before the failure. So the things I did up until 2008 was I took the kidney, I rotated it with the biocommands from systemic, like number 6 restore, number 2 builder, number 1 activator, to get the kidney to go through different phases of functions, because the number 6 helps it heal.
Yeah, so systemic has these formulas that you can match with other formulas. We'll use in case we're talking about kidney in our lungs. So you would use like the number 6 to which restore kidney function, and then the number 2 is a builder. Yeah.
And then number 1, because kidney, we don't think about it, but there's a lot of hormones that the kidney makes.
Yeah.
Your not only electrolyte stuff, but renin, your erythropoietin, certain sex hormones are all related to the kidney. You know, just from my perspective, my sex drive, as soon as my kidney failed, just was gone. You know, a lot of times we think adrenals, but you got to think the adrenals sit on top of the kidney.
Absolutely.
So if the kidney's not working, the adrenals aren't.
And by the way, that's why electrolyte imbalance affects adrenals. That's why when people take salt they go, oh my gosh, it helps my adrenals. Well, it's playing into the kidneys as well. Yeah.
Because they work together.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so you have to look at adrenal function when somebody's in kidney failure also, you know. So what I did was Excel. I think the Excel was the number 1 thing I took daily for years. I mean, it just, you know, it works on the gut and everything.
Excel is it's a powder
that
Systemic Formulas makes. It's probably it's the most talked about formula always because there's been some trends. It supports the whole triad. I mean, it supports your liver, kidney, gut.
Digestion.
Yeah, so it really has a full support. There's even pancreatic, adrenal support in there. So it's a really the taste is the best, but it's a
mix
power.
It with greens.
Yeah, it's a power pack. Tammy has a formula. Do you remember it, Meredith? For the Excel, if people want to try the Excel, tell them.
Yeah, I think I remember one of the versions of it. Okay. Tammy, you were one of our wonderful practitioners and true cellular detox specialists, and she has created a formula using Excel Therapeutic, which is that powder to kind of help people get it down a little bit more easily because it does have a very woody taste. I like it. I throw it into smoothies, but not everybody loves it. So I believe she takes a scoop of the Excel Therapeutic powder and mixes it with some grass-fed butter and perhaps some almond butter, maybe a little bit of coconut oil, and maybe a touch of sea salt and stevia, I think. There's maybe some variations of it, but she actually then kind of makes it into a paste and rolls it into balls, and you can keep them in your refrigerator in a little container, and they're just kind of very therapeutic little fat bombs in a way.
Yeah, I've never tried it because like you all, I'm like, I actually don't mind the taste, right? But it is Excel Therapeutic. You might want to tell people how to spell it because they won't find it on the website. You know, tell them how to spell it because they'll use an A.
Yep, ACCELL Therapeutic on revelationhealth.com. And same with the kidney support formulas, the K kidney, the KS kidney, any of these formulas that we're talking about, we have at revelationhealth.com, so you can check it out there.
Yeah. And now the other thing I did too is I did rotate kidney formulas. I would use some, you know, Rena-Food from Standard Processed, kidney chi from Chi Enterprises along with their asparagus root. Just so my body wouldn't get so used to, but that's what the biocommands do too, is keep you from getting used to it. And diet-wise, you know, during failure, you want to be moderate protein. You don't want to be high protein. It just
too much moderate protein anyway.
Yeah, it damages the kidney. You know, vegetables, cut out the sugars. Whether you're diabetic or not, sugar is not good for the kidney. any way you look at it, whether you have diabetes or not, you want to just keep the sugar down.
Right.
So I really cut the carbs down, rice and pasta and all that stuff. You know, even though I was eating brown rice type stuff and not necessarily wheat. So those are food things I did. And then
I have a question with diet there as well, because a lot of people talk about protein amounts and salt amounts with kidneys. If you could explain that.
I would basically, for somebody on kidney, between 0.5 and 0.8 grams of lean body mass. And typically 4-ounce servings, you know, 20 to 25 grams of protein, maybe.
So basically half your lean body weight in protein is a good.
Exactly.
That's basically what I recommend for most people. If you're working out, of course,
up until around the 0.8 or you know, if you got healthy kidneys, 1.0.
Right, exactly, yeah. And
what about salt?
Yeah. When you're on dialysis, now it's different because the dialysis machine takes the protein out when you're doing the treatment. You got to eat a little higher protein, more around the 1 to 1.2 grams.
Makes sense.
Which is, you know, but then once you get a kidney transplant, you got to go back down to the 0.5 to 0.7, 0.8, somewhere in there, moderate protein. So again, you don't want to damage the kidney with too much protein. And then sugar again, you know, you want to, you know, your vegetables and good fats. And here's the other thing, especially the autoimmune kidneys, whether it's IgA or another autoimmune nephrologies. You want, one research study I read was 5 grams of fish oil a day. And what the fish oil does is it helps go through the tubules and clean it out, and it prevents the autoimmune from sticking in there and causing it to back up. So fish oil, in this instance, I know we can get omega-3 dominant, but in this instance, it's actually good for people that have kidney.
Well, and it is a blood thinner as well, actually,
yes.
which can lead to, like you said, chronic issues. That's one of the reasons why, you know, I don't like people staying on fish oil. But so I remember when you did your first fast.
Yes.
And I remember when you started intermittent fasting, you physically transformed.
Oh, yeah. And I did that on dialysis just 4 years ago. I was 255 after my first transplant. And then after it failed, I jumped back up again to about 240.
So you have to understand, when people are on dialysis, they do nothing. Hank was mountain biking, paddle boarding, I mean, surfing, snowboarding, and he was doing, I mean, you know, because remember, he had no kidneys. So the dialysis was cleaning his blood. Your body builds up toxins like this, you know, I mean, proteins. So when you're doing more activity, you're creating more toxins. So people do nothing.
So let me talk about different types of dialysis. Me personally, hemodialysis works the best. The whole reason I didn't want peritoneal from a standpoint of ease is best as far as you do it at night when you're sleeping, you hook into your stomach. But when I started researching it, it's your gut tissues, your omentum and that area that's cleaning the toxins out of you. So what you're doing is basically putting the toxins inside of you to clean them out. To me, that just didn't sound healthy in the long run.
Right.
Ease of life, yes. Less, you didn't have to have a machine. I personally did home hemo, where you go, you do your treatment 6 days a week. It's about 2.5 to 3.5 hours, maybe 4 hours of prep before and after. But the nice thing is you can travel with the machine. Now, not everybody gets to do it on themselves like I did without a caretaker, your wife, or but they'll train somebody to help you do that. Typically your wife or somebody in your family. Me, I was one of a few that did it on myself. I stuck the needles in myself. I did the calculations, everything myself, hooked up, unhooked, all of that. And there's a level of danger with that you could bleed or something. To me, the risk was worth the freedom. The freedom. I could travel. I could go snowboarding. And hemo just cleans your blood better than peritoneal. And the other thing I liked about it is, from an emotional standpoint, is the freedom. Doing in-center 3 times a week, you really can't go do the things that I do because you gain so much fluid in between, you know, 10 to 12 kilos, which you're talking 20 pounds of water weight every other day. And where me, I would gain 2 to 3 kilos a day and take it off the next day.
Right.
So it allowed me to be more active in the afternoons. Now, my energy level is good for a good 6 hours after I was done with treatment. I could go mountain biking or do some things. I wasn't the fastest. I would, you know, have to take breaks, let my legs shake out because I'm not getting the lactic acid out. But if you get a good sweat going, you're sweating a lot of that out.
Yeah, but you're creating more. I was stunned that he was even able to do it,
Yeah.
you know, honestly. So they did a whole piece on you.
Yes, DaVita.
Yeah.
I was their spokesperson actually for home hemo because they were like, nobody else in the country does what you do.
Yeah.
They sent a video crew out, watched me go out dirt biking, mountain biking, surfing, photo shoot. And I'm actually in some airports right now. One of my patients was in the Denver airport and a big old ad with me in it talking about their home hemo. So kind of interesting.
Funny. Well, we know that the things you did enabled you to carry this lifestyle, honestly.
I got adjusted, acupuncture.
Yeah, you did it all. I mean, obviously the supplements we're mentioning you were doing.
Diet.
And then the fasting, intermittent fast, like I said, you know, get back to that because I remember when you did it, how transformative it was.
Yeah, so
you know, I remember you showed up to seminar, people didn't recognize you.
Yeah, and I really got serious about it about a year and a half ago, and I dropped from September to like March almost 40 pounds of just intermittent fasting and a couple days of, I fasted 7 days, bone broth. Then I intermittent fasted 2 meals a day. 1 meal was Excel, 1 meal was a dinner, fat, protein, vegetables, no carbs. And it was transformative. And I think I'd done enough detox up to that point, like the 60-day detox and gut microbiome.
Brain phases.
Yeah. And then boom, it just kicked in with doing the Cyto and the DMSA and it just all of a sudden dropped. I think I just finally got enough of the original toxins out of the system. The body said, we can let this fat go.
Yeah,
and
no doubt. Yeah, it did. It went. Yeah, I mean, it was remarkable that transformation, you know. And again, most people would say, "Wow, can you fast when you do this?" Well, he did.
Yeah,
he detoxed, you know, throughout this, and really, like I said, it really enabled you to do the things you did.
Yeah, so I was like September a year ago, I was about 222, 23 pounds, and when I went to the hospital a month ago, I was 184.
168 today.
Yes.
Yeah, just to tell you. You know, I have to say, you know, by eating less often, right? Think about how much less strain on your kidneys, your liver, your cells. I mean, that's why when people eat less often, they live longer. I mean, we can take someone like you that's, you know, under tremendous stress from your kidneys, you know, your kidneys and your liver, right? I mean, all the toxins are.
And the liver has to pick up the job.
Picks up the job, right? So by eating less often, I mean, it transformed him. I mean, honestly, because it was just, he was putting that much less stress on his organ system. Point is that happens to us too.
Yes.
It's just you're a canary in the coal mine. You know, we're able to look at, you know, that much stress and see what that does by eating less often. So, yeah.
On another point, you know, so those are the things you can do pre-dialysis. Now, on dialysis, it wasn't so much supplements as far as, well, dialysis, you got to worry about anemias. One, they run you anemic. They'll never let 13 on your hemoglobin is normal and above. They typically don't want you over 12. I talked my doctor into letting me run 12.5. Problem is your blood gets more thick the more hemoglobin you have. They want you thin. And the reason for that too was I wasn't on heparin, which is a blood thinner. And it's rare to be on dialysis, not heparin, but because I was eating a high-fat diet, my blood was thin. It went through the machine and cleaned easy. Maybe once every couple months, I'd clog up and have to toss my blood because my blood was too thick. But it was rare because of the fats and the fasting and all that my blood ever got thick.
Yeah.
It was when I would switch a diet and go maybe 3 meals a day for a little bit, you know, the diet rotation, and then I would have more of a problem. But then as soon as I went back to fasting and intermittent fasting.
Well, I have one more question, and I'll see what questions Meredith has. Okay, so you moved like we do in and out of ketosis, right?
Yes.
And ketosis at one point was criticized because, well, it's hard on your kidneys because of the protein, or, you know, I mean, there's all types of different, you know. So, I mean, that wasn't evident with you. So talk about that. Yeah.
Well, not at all, because ketosis actually made my function better.
Yeah.
My labs were better on dialysis.
Right.
You know, now I didn't urinate, but, you know, even then my labs were way better. The other thing you got to watch on dialysis is parathyroid hormone. You know, in thyroid, because that really gets affected on dialysis. And what you do is you lose bone mass. Again, you're anemic. So you're not.
So what were some of the formulas that you did to support the thyroid and the parathyroid?
So I would use the GF thyroid to help the parathyroid and thyroid, and then I had to take Epogen shots.
So GF, that's
yes.
a systemic product as well.
I had to take Epogen shots, but iron. I used Hemevite from Apex. It's a pre-digested iron because you don't get constipated. It's already the heme version, HEME. And to me, that worked the best. There's also a German brand you can get in Whole Foods. It's a liquid that worked really good. I can't think of the name of it right now. Oh, Floridex.
Oh,
Floridex.
There you go. Good.
So Floridex is a great liquid. I would use that if I had to toss blood. You get, there goes a pint and a half of blood. So I get real anemic. I'd always go to the Floridex first instead of the Hemevite because it would build my iron levels back up faster. Adrenal and thyroid, definitely,
GA,
yes,
is it
GA, and
GF?
I would also rotate in GB pituitary for the TSH to the thyroid.
Pituitary, right, because that controls it.
Exactly.
So GB, GF, GA is supporting that system
thyroid,
as well.
Yeah. For energy, because you're fatigued all the time from being anemic, and you're fatigued from just not having the red blood cells, So keeping your energy levels up and keeping the other hormones that are going to be affected. One hormone system goes down, they all start having problems because they got to make up for it.
No doubt about it. All right, Meredith.
All right. Well, thanks. I've
One last thing.
Yeah.
So people on dialysis, the rejection drugs destroy their gums.
Oh, right.
So after my first 3 years of dialysis and my transplant, my gums were horrible. I would have like 5, 6, and 7 spaces when they check them. So I started using Dr. Jerry's, the Revitin toothpaste. He gave me a bottle like a year and a half ago.
We just interviewed Jerry, so go back and watch the interview. But yeah.
So within a year of using that toothpaste, before I got my transplant a month ago, went to the dentist. All zeros across the board. He said my gums hadn't looked this good in 6, 7 years.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now that I'm back on rejection drugs, I'll be using the toothpaste every day.
That's what I use. That's the toothpaste I use, by the way. Yeah, Revitin. So yeah. So go back and watch that show. Jerry did a lot on it.
Yeah, Revitin's a good one. That's episode 189. So just the last episode, you guys can check that out on the oral microbiome and safe dentistry. It was an awesome episode. I love Revitin as well. Dr. Hank, I know in the past too, you've talked about kidney flushes, and do you think anybody could do that if they just kind of wanted to have a reboot and kind of make their kidneys healthier, or is that kind of more advised for someone who has some specific kidney challenges? And if so, how do you do it anyway?
Anybody can do it. You can do pureed asparagus with lemon juice and a lot of water. That'll help clean out the kidney.
Wow.
I use the home remedy for people that have stones. It's a little off of our normal protocol, but I'll have them puree a cup of asparagus root with some lemon juice in it and take it. And then over the next 2 hours, drink 4 to 6 Cokes, regular Coke without the caffeine.
It's the
acid.
The phosphoric acid.
Phosphoric acid will help dissolve those stones, especially if they're calcium oxalate stones. And I find it's very successful. A few people have to go get an ultrasound or something where they have to break it up. Sometimes it's just too big, But for most people, it will clean it out pretty good if you catch it early enough, Sometimes if they already have the flank pain and it's traveling down, it'll go down through the ureter and that and help clean that out and get rid of it before it gets to the bladder.
So what was the other one? You take asparagus, you can put it in your blender with lemon juice?
Yeah, and just puree it and drink it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yum. But yeah, that's good. You do that with some K-kidney, man. You get your solution.
And just water, that's a perfect little flush right there.
Because back pain is like one of the first kind of signs.
Yeah.
Is it all day? Is it mostly at night? Is it intermittent?
All day, all night.
It's
just constant. It's just a dull ache all the time.
Okay.
You just feel like, my back is just so sore. And you're thinking it's muscles. And you're thinking it's maybe a nerve, but in reality, it's just, that referral pain to the right above the sacrum, the first few vertebrae, 3, 4, 5, in that area.
Yep.
Dehydration, you just got to drink plenty of water. That's make sure you get your water in.
Okay.
Typically, we say half your body weight in ounces. a day, and then every cup of coffee, another 8 ounces of water. Work out every 15 minutes. They say another 6 to 8 ounces. So, yes.
Okay.
Stay hydrated. Yeah, that was another thing.
I actually have a little
too.
special water in here, so we don't know. Go ahead.
Right. Yeah. No, that's true. So well, yeah. So with that kidney flush, though, I just wanted to clarify. So it's the pureed asparagus, a cup of it with the lemon juice. You drink that, and then it's 8 Coca-Colas. How many ounces? And is it possible to substitute something else?
Like 4 to 6 in 2 hours. We just find the acid in the Coke works the best.
What if there's another way? Is there another way to get the phosphoric acid?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, because for me, I just wouldn't do it. I just couldn't drink the
Right,
Coke.
but I like the idea of
I'm
it.
in pain with a kidney stone. I might change my attitude there. But yeah, that's a good point, right? I'll deal with the sugar high that day,
right?
And the crap that's in it. Who knows what you're going to get in there? Nasty.
The Mexican Coke's probably better.
I was going to say, yeah, exactly. There's cane sugar in there. All right. But yeah, I mean, there's another way. Someone write in. Is there something that's not Coke that we could get the phosphoric acid? My brain's not clicking to it right now. But yeah, I mean, and then, or you could just do
K with the asparagus.
Right, with the asparagus,
lots of lemon juice.
Lots of lemon juice with it. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's good. I think it's something that without the Coke, just the puree with the lemon juice, we should all do.
Corn silk.
Yeah,
corn silk helps clean the tubules.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, corn silk. Well, and I know because I get the questions on the phone. I'm wondering, people are going to be like, okay, well, so what is this protocol? Are you rotating the K kidney, the KS kidney, the GF thyroid, the GB, the ACell? Are you taking them all at once? How does that kind of work?
I don't rotate the ACell. I just took it every day because it's not just the kidney I'm targeting. It's the gut and the liver and gallbladder and
it hits all of it. That's why it's such a good formula.
And spleen and it's like the shotgun approach, but it's giving nutrients for the whole system. It's hitting the liver triad. Mm-hmm. Doc Wheelwright's liver triad. So to me, I just did it every day. That was my go-to.
And then you would be on K for a month or two, then switch to KS. I'm sure that's what I do. Switch it around, rotate it.
A little Rena food maybe with the K.
You rotated some of the bio commands in there: the 6, the 2, the 5, the 1. So.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And what about electrolytes? Did you take?
And as far as dosing goes, you don't need a lot. I mean, you just need 1 of those bio commands a day.
2. I would take 2. Usually, my standard dose on K was 2 twice a day. Okay. If kidney function is a little worse, I take 2-3 times a day.
Okay.
Asparagus root, typically 2 twice a day is enough to get the creatine levels down. Yeah, so those I would definitely rotate with the bio commands, but I would stay on K months.
And you would rotate between GA, GF, you just kind of bounce around in there. Okay.
Yeah. K kidney is amazing. I talked to a man the other day on the phone as well, and I had suggested that for him to try that, and he said it transformed him, just that he was rotating the K kidney and the KS kidney, and he could not get over how much those 2 formulas really transformed his overall health.
The K more builds just regular build and function of the kidney. The KS is more stimulate. It's more to get fluid out. And you could also, if somebody's we didn't mention this formula, but KDIR I used too. If I got bloated and I was still urinating before dialysis, the KDIR, I took that when my ankles and that started swelling, KDIR and some
edema that you get in the ankles
and some SENG.
KDIR, man, absolutely.
And just on a side note,
and SENG is the lymph. You're right. KDIR and SENG together, you're getting that lymphatic, the build up. If you're sitting for too long, you notice that you have sock lines. KDIR and SENG.
Yeah. Let's talk about fluid in the legs, because I got out of the hospital. It's been a week and a half. I went in at 184. I woke up the next day after the transplant, and they put a ton of fluid. They put 40 pounds of fluid on me. I was almost 223, so 38 pounds of fluid. I got out of the hospital. I was still about 212 pounds so over 20 some pounds of fluid still on me. Mm-hmm. Maybe 214, 15, somewhere in there. Dr. Pompa took me to cryotherapy. Now, I haven't gotten the cryo chamber yet. I'm going to start next week, but they have this thing called Normatec.
We want to give it a month just to let things settle out.
The Normatec, it goes up your whole leg, and it puts some cooling air in there, but it squeezes from your toes all the way up. 4 days, over 20 pounds of fluid off.
Yeah.
I mean, at first my kidney was waking up, but my ankles were like this.
Yeah, you didn't have ankles. You didn't have ankles.
Yeah, and one treatment, you could see my ankles.
Yeah, right. I came out of the boots. These things go all the way up to your hips, right? And they compress, and the air moves, you know, in and out, and it compresses up. So that's actually why I brought him there. And right after he was done, I was like, oh my God, you have ankles.
Yeah, it was amazing. Like my legs were so numb, my feet hurt so bad, you know. And
then they have a localized.
Yeah, they would freeze my ankles.
Yeah, so and
it would just kill the pain for hours.
So they put the cold right on. I mean, this thing is like, you know, 150 below, right? It's like they put it right on and freeze. Literally, they iced them, made a massive difference.
Yeah. I can't. I'm adding it to my office.
Yeah, we did a show on cryotherapy. You can, I don't know, you probably know the number. I don't.
Yeah, so.
I think it might be 185.
185.
Hasn't aired yet as of today.
So we'll get to see that. Yeah. All right, good.
And well, speaking of, so have you done other compresses as well, or like a castor oil pack, or something like that? Did you find that compresses were helpful?
Swollen ankles, I like to use brown paper bag, and you can do this for sprained ankles too. A brown paper bag, cut it in strips like inch and a half, and soak it in apple cider vinegar, and wrap your ankles with apple cider vinegar. Strap the brown paper bag, and then wrap cellophane around it and go to sleep. And it would, get the swelling out of it. But it's good for sprained ankles too. It just gets the swelling out of there and helps it heal faster.
Yeah.
Epsom salt baths, warm water, a few cups of Epsom salt, soak.
Yep, absolutely.
Did you do any kidney compresses?
No,
that's kind of what I meant.
I never found it really helped me, to be honest. I've tried different things, different companies, different patches. Didn't really work like the nutrition and the diet. Just not enough difference for me to notice anything. And I tried it all.
Oh yeah, you're like me, man. He experiments on himself. Yeah, we do it all the time. Sometimes we screw ourselves up too. Yeah.
And that's how we learn.
Techniques, I got adjusted. I did acupuncture. Neuralink's a big technique I use that I did it because it worked on me. Emotional techniques like NET worked great. Just, you're on dialysis, your kidneys, you're going to have depression. You're not going to feel good. Me personally, I just have a different way of looking at life, I guess, because I would maybe get depressed every now and then. But to me, my mom told me one time, she was like, "You're sick. How do you do all this stuff?" And I said, "I'm not sick. I have a challenge." So it's a different way of looking at it.
Challenges make us better, right?
To me, I was never sick. It was just a challenge in life, and everybody has a challenge. And it's how you deal with that challenge. Not to say that we don't get down, but I would take general sedate. If I really felt down, I'd get a little seasonal. Seems like winter would always kind of put me down. Not getting enough sunshine, vitamin D, kidney and vitamin D. You got to take vitamin D.
Well, that's where a lot of you convert
Yes.
is in the kidneys. So the kidneys play a big role in the conversion of vitamin D.
Once Systemic came out with the liquid vitamin D with the K2, big difference.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, getting in the sun plays a big role as well.
So that and some general sedate always would take me out.
General sedate is it's a Chinese element formula that Systemic makes
for depression.
It's amazing.
Two other formulas that I used that we didn't mention before and after kidney failure is the water formulas, sedate and tonify, and I would take them both. And in fact, I don't remember the exact order. You take one in the morning and one in the afternoon. You take one at 10 in the morning and one at 2.
Wait, you said water sedate?
And water tonify.
Okay, so those are two Chinese element formulas, and the water means it's focused on the kidney. Yeah, I can't believe we forgot that, actually. So it's water sedate and water tonify.
And I would take those with the K kidney a lot. At least every 3 months, I'd do a month or two of those along with, rotate those in. Because they work so good.
I start people on the K, the KS, and then I'll end up rotating them into those water formulas eventually because they're new. They work completely different. It's more of an energy targeting the kidneys than just straight herbs that work for the kidneys.
Exactly. And they have an emotional component too.
Yeah, there's an emotional component to it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey, man, we thank you.
Yeah.
We just brought, I'm telling you, people out there, they're taking a lot of notes because you gave some gems, man. Absolute gems. So thanks, man. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for letting me have the house.
Can you believe that, man? A month. You know, he just got a kidney transplant. I mean, that's phenomenal. So
20 days in the hospital. I've only been out a week and a half.
I know. That's true, right? Yeah. Gosh.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Ming, for sharing your wisdom
Thank you.
today. I'd like to end the show with when we asked our expert guests if they have 3 things that our viewers and listeners can take home to improve their cellular health. So it can be about the kidneys or about anything you'd like to share with our viewers.
I personally, I like the Moors, the Energy, and the Neurosyn. The Neurosyn.
Top 3 formulas.
Yeah, I like
all those.
The Moors just makes me feel good. So does the Energy, and then the Neurosyn just for brain function.
You know, the brain runs everything.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, great. Well, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your challenges and being just so vulnerable and sharing your story with our viewers. I know it's going to inspire so many who have watched, and I've learned so much. I've been taking tons of notes. So thank you just so much for sharing your story. And thank you, Dr. Pompa, as always. Thank you, everyone, for listening, for tuning in. If you're curious about any of the formulas that we talked about today, we have most of them on revelationhealth.com. That's the K, KS, KDR, General Sedate, and Acel, and so many that we've talked about. So you can go to revelationhealth.com and search for those formulas if you'd like to try them to support your cellular health. And thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.